the first healthcare business that I set up was, I went round the block where we used to live, block of flats, and with a survey, if I opened a business and start sending people to care homes and to hospitals, paying you this much, would you work
with me?
With me. And literally those who said, yes, this is my phone number, this is my name. And guess what? Just with that information, these people, I had recruited them.
Yeah.
And without collecting any further information, I was able to send these people to work, right?
Exactly.
But because the law then, that is 21 years ago.
Yeah.
The law then was not where it is today. We didn't have GDPR or anything. So on reflection and from personal experiences, all I'm saying is, as an entrepreneur when you're starting, honestly, the law is the last thing on your mind.
Yeah.
So that's why we are having this conversation. Yeah. But nowadays, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because we live in a digital era as well.
Yeah.
As long as you start thinking an idea, there's many other 1,000 people thinking of the same idea at the same time when you're thinking it, right?
Absolutely.
And so there is a possibility that that same idea, the minute by the time you go to the investors have had hundreds of other people pitch the same idea.
That's true.
Hence you will start saying, oh, I went to pitch my idea and they stole my idea.
Yeah.
Well, nobody stole your idea. You should have protected the
yourself
idea
from the inside. Yeah.
From the conception stage.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that law or legal is one of the pillars that you must have. Human resources being one. For me, my lesson was when I went through the recession.
Yeah.
And I woke up having lost 3/4 of the business.
Wow.
I didn't have no lawyers, I'm being honest. I didn't have no lawyers because I hadn't had that interaction.
Yeah.
But that journey, that time, I realized that the most important people a business needs was number one, your lawyers.
Yeah.
Number two, your accountant.
Yeah.
Number three, your bank.
Yes.
For me, these were the people who walked this journey for me. But since that time, these people are my pillars in the business.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting that you mentioned that startups, they come to you and say, we now need a law. And so what do you do with them at that stage?
Well, obviously at that stage, that's exactly when the issue of money comes up.
Right.
Because the startup is saying, well, the reason I didn't come to you in the first place is because I assumed you're expensive. But now because I need you, I want help, but I still can't pay. And so you then ask yourself, well, if you're still in the same boat that you were 20 months ago, you might as well have come 20 months ago and would have had this conversation. Look, in my experience, nothing really precludes you as a client to approach a lawyer and say, I would like to work with you. I can't pay for your services at the moment. Can you, as we say in the local language, can you write your bill on my back in blood? So that eventually when I do get my money, I may pay you. You may even find that some lawyers in some advanced jurisdictions, they'll take equity in the business.
Absolutely.
They like your idea, they see it's scalable, they'll note the time that they've taken, and eventually they'll convert that time into some sort of equity, which they'll then receive their payout once an investor comes in and says, okay, I want to put $1 million in there. The lawyer looks at his books and says, oh, of that million, $100,000 is actually the work I've done. Can you buy me out on my portion of the equity? So all those, in my view, are so many conversations you can have with your lawyers. Some startups also can even put a down payment for, in some jurisdictions, not allowed to have a retainer, like it would in others, because then it's seen as if, lawyers can't just hold money when they're not doing the job. Absolutely. But in those jurisdictions, in Africa, for instance, where it's allowed, it's also another avenue. Have lawyers on retainer. You just put a bit of money on the side that if you do need lawyers, you can actually access those lawyers and say, I need help. I paid this amount of money for you to help me when I needed the help. So I think if you really look at it at the end of the day, it's just a fear, in my view, of the unknown, or the fear that lawyers are expensive. For every lawyer that you deem expensive, there are 5 others who are willing to help. So for me, if you approach a lawyer who says, I want $10,000 up front and you can't afford it, guess what? There are 1,000 other law firms you can approach.
Absolutely.
Some are business-minded. Some are geared towards startups and understand the market, and they would never ask you for $10,000 up front.
And some are willing to do it as a giving back.
Some are willing to do it as pro bono, because there are a lot of charities there who give money to some law firms or some organizations to help startups.
Absolutely.
So you realize that by actually not approaching your lawyers to ask, or any lawyer to ask, you're actually disadvantaging yourself, because there's a lot of information that you're not aware of.
Absolutely.
If I can't help you, I have a network of other lawyers who I know can help you, and they have different reasons for doing so. Some, like you say, would do it for as a public service, and so you should be able to be able to access that. So, yeah, startups should stop thinking of lawyers and law as a nuisance. It's a necessity for your business, because any business is underpinned by contracts. You want to be an influencer, as an example to the TikTok generation, you need an influencer agreement. Guess who's going to draft that? It's a lawyer. Guess who's going to interpret most of the things you need to know about? It's a lawyer. So you can't avoid them. So you might as well work with them, because then sometimes they can help you and point you in all directions and protect. You talked about protection. Protect your ideas. I've worked with so many, not worked, but I've had so many reports, and some startups come to me and say, oh, we approached X company, and X company, we pitched the idea to them, and then the next moment, X company is now taking my idea and they're running with it. I need compensation for X company. And I always say to people, okay, two things. Firstly, when you went to them, how did you go to them? Did you meet in a pub and say to them, I have an idea, can I come to the office on Monday? And they say, oh, yeah, come along. You come there all by yourself. It's not a business. It's almost like an extension
over a cup of tea.
Over a cup of tea. So, you know, this is what I was thinking. You know, I've identified an opportunity, blah, blah, blah. You spill out your beans and then you leave.
Yeah.
That person is not precluded by law from actually taking that, tweaking it a bit, and then running away with it, because there is no protection that you've afforded for yourself. So I know there are companies in the market who are always stated to be stealing other people's ideas, but I always ask people claim that, to say, okay, can I understand the journey you took? How did you go? Where did you go? What agreements did you sign? What agreement did you have in place with those people? And most of the times there's no agreement, and there's not even a contract written at the backside of a napkin. It was all verbal. And so it becomes that they said, I said, they said, I said. And funny enough is other people don't actually know this, but serious businesses in the startup game have bankfuls of ideas that they simply bank. I hear your idea, I bank it. I hear it, I bank it. I hear it, bank it. When you come to me and you say you have an idea, guess what? I probably have an idea already in my bank, but all I'll just do is listen to what you've said. Maybe I missed it in my original idea, retrieve that, tweak it a bit, and I run with it. And by the time you start to want to do it, I have the funds, I've already run away with it.